Hi, it's Chris. In this video, we're going to be updating these old vinyl shutters with a fresh coat of paint. And the points we'll be going through are what tools you will need, what kinds of paint to use, removing the vinyl shutters, cleaning, painting, and reinstalling. So let's give these shutters a facelift. So a simple project like updating your shutters can make a huge and inexpensive difference to the look of your home. It doesn't take a lot of time, doesn't require a lot of material. It's a very easy process and you're going to be really happy with the results. So the first thing we're going to go over is what tools are going to be required in order to get this project done. For installation and removal, we're going to need the following tools for this job. We're of course going to need a ladder, a couple of sawhorses, a screw gun or screwdriver, or whatever you're going to need in order to remove the fasteners that are holding your shutters. So for clean material, of course, you're going to need a hose, you're going to need a soft bristle brush, a bucket, some soap, and a microfiber cloth. So for painting, of course, we're going to need paint, some painter's tape, a brush, or paint sprayer. And if you're using a paint sprayer, you're going to make sure you need an extension cord as well. A drop cloth is important, and then we're also going to need some caulking. And of course, we have to make sure we have some safety equipment. So ideally, for our project, our safety equipment is going to be a pair of safety glasses, some hand protection, as well as if we're using a sprayer, we're going to want a mask. So now that we've talked about what equipment we're going to use, let's talk about the paint that's going to be needed for doing these vinyl shutters. The best type of paint to use for doing vinyl shutters is an exterior acrylic latex paint. It has a high resistance to UV rays, which helps keep the colors from fading in the sun. It also has a great adhesion to vinyl shutters, as it's a paint made specifically for plastics. So now we know what kind of paint and color we're using, we need to talk about how to remove those shutters from the house. Now before we start, one thing I want to mention is a lot of people will do this project by leaving the shutters on the home. We've decided to take them right off the house for easier cleaning and painting. Either way, you'll need a ladder, and always make sure the ladder is secure or have someone to hold it while you climb it. Now our shutter removal will be fairly easy because they're simply retained with screws. Now some shutters use safety locks and plastic clips and may require some additional tools and effort in order to get those off. So we're going to start with our upper shutters first to take them off. These ones are just screwed on, so we just got to remove the caps and take a screwdriver, screw gun, and remove those screws. There's only 4 or 5 screws that are holding it, which is typical for a shutter of this size. So sometimes with these caps that are over the screws, they'll be old, cracked, or sometimes even missing, which is not a big deal. Most hardware stores have replacement caps. So if you need some, you can just go pick up the ones that match the color of your shutters. So now we'll just take this shutter down. And one of the things you want to do as you remove your shutters, just take a quick peek behind to see if there's anything attached. Such as this one, where you find a little bit of a hornet's nest was started, which isn't unusual. Depending on where you live, you may find everything from bats to insects. So now that we have this one down, it's just a matter of taking the other ones off. Nobody home. So now that we have this one off, now all we got left to do is get the bottom ones. So now we have all our shutters off. You can see how easy it is to remove them with this type of screw mount. So now our next part of it is going to be getting them all clean. So now to get our shutters clean, and we're just going to put a little bit of, actually I'm using dishwasher soap because I find it really works well as far as getting this debris off of shutters. So just a little bit in our bucket. Now that we got our bucket of soapy water, we're just going to take our hose, rinse our shutter, pick up some of that soapy water with our brush, and give the shutter a complete going over. So now that we've got the shutter all brushed off and soapy, should be good and clean, we're just going to give it a rinse off, and then I'm just going to flip it over and rinse off the backside. So there we go. This shutter's nice and clean. We're just going to set it aside so it can get good and dry, and we'll move on to the other ones. So to speed up the drying process, if you've got any drips or water hanging, just give it a wipe with a good dry cloth. A microfiber cloth I find works the best. So now that we have our shutters all dry and fully prepared, it's time to get down to painting. Now that we have our drop cloth down to protect our lawn, because we're going to be using a paint sprayer. You can use a brush. Some people think about using a roller because it's quick and easy, but because these are louvered shutters, it'd be extremely difficult to get good coverage with a roller without having a whole lot of drips and taking extra time in doing cleanup. So we're going to use a sprayer today, And now we just got to get our sprayer and our paint together and we'll give them a spray. So whether you're using a paintbrush or a paint sprayer, you're going to want to make sure that you try to give as even a coat as you can and as thick as you can evenly across the entire surface. So with the sprayer, you're going to want to try and do your passes left and right, right and left, and just continuing on past your paint material just a little bit so that you try and get a decent coverage. So there's our first one done. It's looking really good. I'm quite pleased with the way it covered. So now we're just going to move on to the rest of them. So there we go. All 4 shutters are painted. They're looking really, really good. I'm really pleased how well they worked out using the sprayer. So now we just need to let them dry 24 hours plus, and then we'll be reinstalling them back on the house. It's been 24 hours and we're back on site. So now it's time to reinstall the shutters. Now with these shutters, they're just mounted with screws. Yours may be mounted differently, and whatever fastener you've used, you're going to want to continue on with that. So the next thing we're going to do is just put a little caulking in those holes. Some people will put the caulking on the screw. The downside to doing it that way instead of this is when the screw goes in, it'll actually wind up pushing the caulking back up the screw and you really won't get a whole lot into the hole. I'm going to bring our shutter up, start our screw through. So there, our first one's been installed. Now it's just a matter of putting the other 3 up. So that's it. Look at the difference between now and then. It's such a huge improvement. You know, for a little bit of effort and not a lot of money, you can really make a big difference in the look of your home. Turn it into something beautiful. Thanks for watching. I hope we've been able to show you just how easy and economical it is to do an upgrade on your home to make it look really special. For more great videos, don't forget to subscribe. And while you're at it, swing over to Fix.com and check out our blog.